Welcome back, Twisters, and hey there, hockey fans. Nick here, and today let's talk about Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators. He's having one hell of a season so far. I do think that there's a good chance that he ends up at least as a Hart Trophy finalist this season and gets considered as the NHL's most valuable player. Now, I asked you guys on YouTube and also on Twitter, do you think that Josi gets consideration for the Hart this year? And a fairly good amount of you think that yes, he probably does get some consideration and could be at least a finalist. And I want to hear your thoughts more so in the comments down below, so be sure to sound off down there. Let's take a look at Roman Josi on the season so far. 67 games played. He has 19 goals, 65 assists for 84 points. Yeah, 84 points in 67 games as a defenseman. He's got a plus 23 rating, a 25-minute and 17-second average time on ice, 111 blocked shots, 40 takeaways to 61 giveaways. Pretty characteristic of a average puck-moving defenseman out there. He does have to drive a lot of that play himself. Defensemen usually turn the puck over more than they actually force takeaways, so that's pretty standard, I would say. His 5-on-5 advanced statistics, I'll quickly go over this. 59.4 offensive zone starting percentage. So he is playing more offensively 5-on-5 than in previous seasons. His Corsi for percentage is just 50.7%, but that does not take into consideration the quality of chances that you're generating or the quality of chances that you're surrendering. I would think it's more of the former for Josi, where his team takes good quality chances when he's on the ice and surrenders not good quality shots. And as a stat to kind of back that up, Nashville Predators goaltenders have a .931 save percentage 5-on-5 when Josi is on the ice. That is superb, and of course, Juuse Saros is a big piece of that. I did find this interesting, though. On MoneyPuck.com, I looked at defensive pairings where the partners have played together for at least 400 minutes this season. So when it comes to expected goals for per 60 minutes, Josi and Dante Fabro are collectively just 26th in the NHL, and in expected goals against per 60 minutes, they are the 18th best pairing. So not the greatest there, but I think there are plenty of other justifications for Roman Josi. Now, where does Josi rank among others in the NHL? So he's actually tied for 9th overall in points. He's tied for the 13th best points per game average. That's not defense, that's skaters overall. But among defensemen, he is first in total points, and he is first in points per game. Cale Makar, for reference, is at 1.14 points per game. Josi is at 1.25 points per game. But I will make the argument that Cale Makar is on a better team, so he needs to be utilized less frequently, whereas Josi has to drive a lot of that play himself because the Nashville Predators don't have quite as many weapons. That is a factor, especially as we talk about something like the Norris Trophy. So Cale Makar could certainly win that award, but I still think Josi could be the guy who actually gets considered for the league's MVP. Josi's also tied for 4th in power play points overall with 33. Now, normally people would say, well, isn't even strength more important in terms of value? But you got to look at the Predators' history, because going back to 2018-19, this team was 30th in the NHL in power play percentage. Last season, they were just 23rd, but this season, with Josi driving a ton of that play and putting up a lot of points as a result, they're actually the 6th best power play in the NHL. So certainly, you have to give him some credit there. Many of you will remember that Josi won the Norris Trophy in 2020 as the league's best defenseman. So I wanted to compare that season to where he is right now this season. So in 2019-20, 69 games played, he had 16 goals, 49 assists for 65 points. He had a plus 22 rating, 25 minutes and 47 seconds of time on ice, 34 takeaways to 68 giveaways. So you look at his numbers this year, and they're a lot better in several of those categories. He's scoring more goals. He's got more points overall. He's got a better plus minus with plenty of time left before the rest of the season. A little bit less ice time, but better control with the puck, a little bit more responsible. That year in 2019-2020, he actually finished 7th in Hart Trophy voting. So with the season that he's having, isn't there a good explanation as to why he could actually finish as a Hart Trophy finalist? I think so. But to sort of combat that claim, I do have to look at the history of the Hart Trophy as it pertains to non-forwards. So the last time a non-forward won the Hart Trophy award was Carey Price back in 2015. And then before him, it was Jose Theodore, goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, in 2002. The last defenseman to win this award was Chris Pronger back in 2000. So it's already been 22 years since an NHL defenseman last won the Hart Trophy. That year for Chris Pronger, to put things in context, do remember this is coming during the height of the dead puck era where scoring was at a premium. So Pronger had 79 games played on the season. He had 14 goals, 48 assists for 62 points. That was the second most points in the NHL among defensemen. Nick Lidstrom was first, but he did lead the NHL in plus minus with a plus 52 for a St. Louis Blues team that won the President's Trophy, eliminated in the first round by my team, the San Jose Sharks. And Pronger was also 6th overall in average time on ice per game. And then before Pronger, the last defenseman to actually be nominated for that award was Ray Bourque in 1990. The Bruins made the Stanley Cup final that year. There were plenty of other nominees in the 1980s and also the 1970s for the Hart Trophy among defensemen, but the last guy to win it before Chris Pronger was 28 years before him in 1972, some guy named Bobby Orr. But really what I want to emphasize here is what the Hart Trophy is based on. It is awarded to the player most valuable to his team. Certainly there are players who are scoring more points out there. You've got McDavid and Draisaitl at the front of the class there. You've got, of course, Jonathan Huberdeau in Florida setting a franchise record. You've got Igor Shesterkin, who we were talking about as a Hart Trophy finalist, possibly back in February, I would say. But to make the case for Roman Josi, we really have to go to the heart of what the Hart Trophy is all about. It's given to the player who is deemed the most valuable to his team. Now, would you say that Auston Matthews is the most valuable to his team more so than any other player in the NHL? Well, you look at how Michael Bunting has performed as a result of Matthews. He does perform with Marner, but his dominance, especially of late, is going to better his chances. Playing in Toronto certainly helps as well. So I don't want to take away from him. I don't want to take away so much from Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid leading the NHL and scoring, both of those guys 1-2, or Jonathan Huberdeau. However, he does play on a team with so many other different weapons out there. But let's go back to 2018 to somebody who was given the Hart Trophy despite finishing just 6th in scoring and 9th in goals. The thing that mattered the most was that he put his team on his back to get them into the playoffs, and that was none other than Taylor Hall with the New Jersey Devils. So if there is anybody from this year's group that actually kind of compares to Taylor Hall, I think it's Roman Josi. First of all, Roman Josi is the captain of this team. He is the leader, not just on the ice, but also off the ice in the locker room. This guy has been a part of several deep playoff runs in his career. When you look at him versus guys like McDavid, Matthews, Draisaitl, Huberdeau, how many playoff series wins do those guys have combined? Well, McDavid and Draisaitl won one playoff series 5 years ago, whereas Roman Josi, his team is always in the playoffs. And so this guy is driving play on the ice, and he's really the glue for that team in the locker room. So I think that that's a huge piece there. And as mentioned earlier, teams like the Panthers, the Leafs, the Avalanche too, they have more weapons out there. The Predators don't necessarily have that. Yeah, they are getting sort of a career revival from a handful of players, but the depth isn't necessarily the best in the NHL either. So Josi has to drive so much of that play from the backside. And so that's why I think Roman Josi is just as deserving of a Hart Trophy finalist nominee as anybody else in the NHL. But I want to know your thoughts about Roman Josi in the comments down below. Feel free to shout out your other Hart Trophy finalists as well. And hopefully we can have more great conversations like this, more NHL analysis as the season progresses and as we get into the playoffs. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, leave a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. And stick around for more analysis, history, and cultural content on this great game. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Nick, and I'll catch you Twisters later. Ciao.